Few forces can compare with gravity, as it affects everything in the known universe, from stars to planets, and even people. Something that powerful and all-encompassing is almost unfathomable, and yet there is something I could compare it to, something as equally all-encompassing, if only for a single person at a time. Of course, this power in question is love, a feeling so strong it can overcome all others while simultaneously being one of the hardest emotions to understand. Of course, some may argue that love isn't comparable to gravity, but that is until you've experienced it for yourself and you realize that the only thing holding you down to this earth is the person holding your heart. This metaphor is toyed with more literally with Patema Inverted, a Yasuhiro Yoshiura film produced by Purple Cow Studios, Japan. Patema Inverted has a fairly interesting concept, with an experiment causing a certain group of people's gravity to be inverted or reversed, and subsequently they fall away from the Earth. In order to combat this, though, a series of underground tunnels were dug in order to keep the inverted from falling into the sky. Cutting to where our story begins, the people of Aiga assumed that the inverted are all gone, and are taught each day that the reason they fell into the sky was because they are sinners. Aiga itself is a totalitarian regime with complete control over the information presented to its population and cameras keeping an eye on everything. Eiji, our main character, disagrees with how things are taught in Aiga and as such typically finds himself alone near the edge of a massive hole in the ground that Aiga doesn't want you to go near. Down inside this hole, however, are a group of the supposed sinners with inverted gravity. This hole contains a massive set of tunnels with a large town and lots of people in it. Patema, the princess of the underground village, loves exploring and eventually finds herself falling out of the hole in the ground where Eiji is. Of course, this means directly up into the air, and she's very, very lucky that he was nearby because he catches her. After catching her safely, the two begin bonding for a bit before Eiji's government finds out about Patema and comes looking for her. Of course, this progresses into the rest of the plot, and I'd rather you appreciate it for yourself if you are interested at all. Now, normally I would begin speaking about the characters during this portion of the review, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't have much to say about them. Both of our main characters are rather boring and generic. Patema is an adventurous cute girl with a decent character design, and Eiji's spacey and always dreaming of flight, despite the taboo attached to it in his society. Honestly, that is all they have to their characterization alone. Now, you see, the real fun comes from seeing the two interact, as Patema Inverted, for all intents and purposes, is a romance film, along with being a sci-fi thriller. Some of the best moments of the show come from the two of them simply talking to each other, and admittedly the parts I cared least about were the parts where they weren't on screen at the same time. And that really is a shame because I feel like we almost got enough between them for a more solid romance, but it's always so short to make way for the more edge-of-your-seat sequences. Honestly, I don't think Patema Inverted is that bad a movie, with a few weaknesses keeping it from being an honestly masterful venture. Characters, for example, needed a lot of work, with villains who lacked any motivation at all, and allies who did either nothing or next to nothing. One of the best parts of this movie, and one of its major saving graces, are that it looks absolutely gorgeous, with amazing background art and no noticeably bad animation. Of course, background art and animation don't really make up for its ultimately lackluster storyline, that while not bad, could have been greatly enhanced with more fleshed out main characters. Well, in the end, whether or not you agree, I hope to see you next time. Bye.